What is up, guys? We are back for the back nine of the second round at the 2017 USADGC. Alright, and for a quick recap, we have Brandon Oleskie at -1 for the round, Dylan Lhotak at 3 under, Alec Anderson 2 under, and Anthony Ippolito at 1 under. For this round, it's a pretty tight race. Anthony is just a few strokes back of these guys. Dylan does have the lead over Alec and Brandon by 1. Alright, and the first hole of the back nine is hole 10 at 370 feet. It is a tough par 3. You do want to throw something that's relatively understable up high in the air and try to get it up on this hill. This hole can be quite deceptive, as on the tee pad it looks much longer than it actually is. This hole was changed from previous years to a longer position. It's basically the same shot. You used to be able to throw more of a mid-range at this, but since it is a little farther and you want it to climb up the hill as much as possible, you want to throw something a little faster. Brandon gets up there a good ways. He's going to have a pretty long putt at it. Dylan kind of got over on it a little too much. It looks like maybe there's a little more wind to flip it over a little quicker. But he's going to have a really long putt for 2, most likely a 3. Anthony here looking to do one better on these guys. And it's a little hard to see, but his does actually stall out a little bit, which can be a problem on this hole, since you are throwing the disc so high up in the air, trying to get it to turn over, and if you don't get enough on it, chances are it's going to do just that. But from where he's at, he's going to have kind of a tough look to get up and down for his par. And Alec there, unfortunately, clips that inside of the tree and drops him right down here for a pretty tough second shot. This actually took him a little while to set this one up. This is a really tiny window that you can't see from here, and getting to that spot from where he was at is actually pretty impressive. So he's going to have a long uphill putt at the basket. Anthony's looking to go through these trees. It's kind of hard to go around them since he's so close to them. And just has a great shot there. Hits by the bucket, but skips uphill a little bit. So he's going to be just inside the circle, putting for par. Dylan there just laying up. Brandon just from a little closer. Great height and everything, just off the rim of the basket, it looks like. It's hard to tell. It's really sunny out there. But he's going to be just on the edge of the hill there for his 3. And Alec here looking to save his par from down in the gully and nails a great putt. That's such a great save on that hole, especially from where he was at. I said probably one of the tougher par 3s on this course, I would say. The angles and everything you have to hit are pretty tough to get it in the right spot. Brandon just tapping out there for his par, and Anthony here looking for his par as well. And just hung up just a little bit too long, just goes right off top of the cage, or the basket rather, but he makes good for his bogey. That's a tough one to swallow. Making a 3 on this hole isn't bad. It's all right. If you make a 2, it's definitely a bonus on the course, but this hole definitely is going to get birdied more than a handful of times. And on to hole 11, it's 318 feet. It is a par 3. Probably one of the easier holes to get a deuce on up here. One of the few on this course, actually. You kind of want to throw a fairway driver that's a little more understable since you are throwing uphill. And you want to get it that little extra distance because you are throwing so far uphill. If you have a big arm, you could throw a mid-range or something on this hole. But throwing with that kind of power, you're going to probably be losing a lot of accuracy. So Dylan's up first here. I believe he was throwing a T-bird, it looked like, just to get up there. Puts a great line on it. It was a little low, but it does get a nice skip towards the bucket, so he's well within the circle. Brandon looking to do the same here. Throws the same color disc, so obviously it's going to be right next to Dylan's. I think they're basically touching, if I remember. Alec here looking to match these guys. Unfortunately, saws it off just a little bit. Hits a couple iron leaves on the left side there. And then Anthony looking to do the same as the other 2 guys. Gets it with a lot more height, correct off of what Alec did. Catches that branch in front of the bucket, but he does stay right there. So he's also going to be just inside the circle, putting for 2. Alec is up first. Unfortunately, left that a lot lower than he intended. He wanted to give that more of a run, but again, taking threes on a lot of these holes out here is not bad at all. There's lots of areas that you can attack this course. Brandon here for 2. Makes good on it. And then as you can see there, that's Dylan's shot right next to Brandon's. Anthony trying to steal the spotlight there real quick. He's got to wait for Dylan. And you know Dylan's got to want this too after the last hole. I know he really wanted the last hole as well, but he can compensate here with a good putt for 2. Which he does. It's a great putt, Dylan. Now Anthony can go make his 2. Make sure to concentrate. You got to want that putt. Nails it. Great 2 by those guys. Alec just tapping in for 3. Being 3 under on that hole on the card is very, very good. So everyone, it's still a tight race. Dylan has 1 stroke over Brandon now. On to hole 12 is probably, in my opinion, the toughest par 3 on this course. Because it is definitely attainable. It doesn't take too much to get down into the mouth. But to get past the mouth, you have to have a great shot with some luck. So it's a very tough hole. Kind of the trick is you want to throw it down the hill with something, again, like a mid-range or fairway, something that's straight to understable. Let the gravity pull it over. Unless you have a nice big sidearm, that can also work as well. The only thing that I don't like too much about it is that it doesn't glide into the mouth as much, so it just kind of sticks where it hits. And Anthony here going directly at the spotter down there. But he doesn't flare too much, so he's on the edge of the woods still. And Alec is up last. Going with the mid-range. That was an ESP Buzz, I believe. But it was just a little too low. Maybe a little too flippy. But he does have the ability to get up and down for his 3 here. I believe he went with the same disc. Great turnover. Misses the foliage on the left side. And he's underneath the bucket for his easy 3. And Anthony looking to do just the same. Nice open hyzer to put himself well within the circle. Brandon went in the woods a little early with a huge putt here. And nails it. This is probably an 80, 90 footer. Something. It was sick. Absolutely sick to watch. Dylan, I missed his upshot, unfortunately. He was just short of where Brandon was at, but he was putting there for 3. Anthony and Alec going to be cleaning up here as well. Brandon going to be closing that lead on Dylan by 1 with that nasty putt. As we move on to hole 13. It is 516 feet. It's a par 4. What you really want to do, you kind of want to get as far up this hill as you can. You don't need to try to super Hulk smash it. It is 3-able from almost anywhere on that hill. You just want to get on that hill, and then it's going to be a pretty easy hyzer. That there was a clip that was impossible to see, but the guys in front of the lead card ended up throwing in for an eagle 2. Well, not the guys. One guy threw up for an eagle 2. It was the only one of the tournament. And that was the first one that I've seen or even heard of. I'm sure I know it happened before, but while I was there at these tournaments, I was not there to witness it. So Brandon got up there. He was really close to the top of the hill. Dylan, unfortunately, it came out. It slipped out of his hand, so he's on the left side over there. He's going to have kind of an awkward look or an awkward angle to attack it. Alec, the shortest of the group, but he's still up on top of the hill, so he's going to be able to attack this one with relative ease. Going with a fairway driver, hyzering in at it. He's going to be about circle's edge there. Anthony throwing his trusty red putter that I've seen multiple times already. He's going to be well within the circle. Dylan with the hardest look at it from almost touching these bushes, but he's not far enough that he was actually up against them, so it wasn't that difficult of a shot. And he also is going to be within the circle on this hole. Brandon going with a huge long putt at this thing, just a standstill from probably 100+ feet away. But he ends up under the basket pretty much. Alec just splashing out left side, unfortunately. He's going to be taking a par 4. Anthony from a little bit closer makes good. It tries to sneak out on the back, but it's stuck. He's going to be taking a great 3 in this hole. Dylan up next, just from a little closer. A little bit of foliage to contend with. Comes up just a little short, unfortunately, but he's going to be taking a par 4. Brandon with a great 3 on that hole. And ties it up with Dylan going into hole 14. It is a very downhill par 3 coming in at 375 feet. Another one of those where you can throw an overstable mid-range or fairway driver. You kind of want to get it into the initial gap, and as soon as it gets there, you just want it to kind of fall out of the sky and go left. You don't want it to glide too much because it's easy to go past. Brandon going with this orangish red buzz that he's been throwing all weekend so far, and that's exactly what you want to do. So if you can throw that shot every time, just do that because you're going to be parked. And Anthony going a really high hyzer, sneaks it through that one tree that kind of blocks a lot of good shots, and he's going to be well within the circle. Dylan going a little lower, but unfortunately catches that guardian tree. He's going to have a long look for 2. Alec throwing the same line, just getting a little sneakier. Misses that tree, but he's going to be a little long of the bucket, just outside of the circle about. And Dylan was quick to fire there. He was just behind that tree that Alec was just behind as well. So Dylan's up there for an easy 3. Yeah. Alec, just from outside the circle, nails his birdie putt. And then Anthony and Brandon are just right there for their birdies. Just super park jobs for a birdie 2 on this hole. While Dylan is going to be the lone par, which again is huge. Having multiple birdies on the same hole, birdie 2s that is, on the same hole is very impressive out here. And then again, unfortunately, I don't have a flyby of hole 15. My opinion, one of the coolest holes out here. It's about, I'd say, 650 feet or so. Kind of want to throw a big end hyzer, kind of like Brandon was trying. He comes out a little early, but he's still going to have multiple windows to get up there for an easy 3. Or if you have a big sidearm on this hole, you can do that as well. There's so many ways you can attack this hole. You just want to get out the initial gap at the end and finish anywhere straight or even to the right. In years past, going straight was impossible to even find your disc, or nonetheless, like, even throw a shot from where your disc is at is if you found it. This hole used to play much more difficult because it was a much riskier way to play the hole if you wanted to bite off a lot more distance on it. There's a lot of Russian olives that got cleared out in the past couple of years. And Alec gets up there well within 20 feet for a putt for 3. Brandon from kind of up against a tree, but is able to throw a nice easy hyzer and puts himself in the circle. Dylan with an amazing forehand off the tee. Goes another sidearm up to the bucket, just inside of where Alex landed. And Anthony, the farthest drive out of the group, comes up a little short on here. He's going to be putting just from outside the circle up this scary hill, because you can hit the basket and you can roll away. I've seen it happen a couple times before. Sometimes you can get lucky and they can stick. And Anthony just kind of airmails it there a little bit, but it does sit down, so he's still going to be putting from pretty close for his 4. Alec nails his putt for birdie 3. Anthony's going to be up next for his 4. Drains it. And then Brandon from probably 15, maybe closer to 20 feet for a birdie 3. Puts it in as well. And then Dylan also for the birdie 3. What do you expect? Ins in, man. Dylan's been putting great, just like the rest of these guys all weekend so far. So we got 3 birdies on that hole, 1 par. Game is still really close in the second round today. And then hole 16 is 354 feet. There's multiple ways you can attack this hole. You can go straight at it. You can throw a sidearm flex. You can even go big up and over the trees with something overstable. and play a stall shot that just kind of falls out of the sky towards the bucket. Me personally, that's what I like throwing on this hole. But these guys, they like going up with the gut. So Brandon's lining up a shot to go straight at the bucket. I believe this is one of his eagles that he likes to throw. Makes it through the gap, kind of clips a little bit of the tree, hyzers him out a little bit, but he's still got a putt. And then Alec flirting with that one tree, flirting with the next tree, but he misses the first one, kind of clips the second one, and he still gets up there for a putt for 2. And then we got Dylan, I believe, with a T-bird here, going up the gut as well. A little too stable, maybe not enough juice on it, but he misses all the trees that he needs to miss. Enough power on it to get pinned deep on it, so he's going to be putting for 2. And then you got Anthony here doing the same, but he kind of turns his over a little bit, but he gets through all those trees and makes it through the gap, so he also is going to be putting for 2 from pretty close. You got Brandon here to start it out. It's a great looking putt, just a couple inches too low, unfortunately. Alec up next, looking to show Brandon how it's done. And nails it. Dead center is a beautiful, beautiful putt. Nice little jog there. Anthony up next to match Alec for the birdie 2 on 16. Nails it. Dead center as well. And then Dylan to round out the card for birdies. So again, we got 3 birdies and 1 par. That's a lot of 2s on this course so far between just these 4 guys. It's really impressive, honestly. Then we got hole 17. It's 755 feet. This is the one where you can just uncork one off the tee. You don't have to worry about too much unless you plan on turning it over into the road, which is OB. You don't want to go too far to the right. That's probably the scariest spot to be, where Alec's actually going, because being on the side of the hill over there can be pretty tough, as the grass is really long, so your run-up's going to be kind of weird. The best spot you want to do is kind of aim towards the guy in the blue out there and land somewhere over there. So do exactly what Dylan did. Over there is going to allow you to throw a big hyzer even straight at the bucket, as to where if you're more on the right side, you're probably going to be throwing more of an anhyzer, which can be a little more difficult to do. Even if you throw a hyzer where Anthony's ended up, where he's going pretty far left, that's not that bad at all, because again, you're still going to be able to throw a hyzer at this bucket and just kind of play a spike into the hill or even on top of the hill. Brandon going a little more left. The big flailing Discraft banner was kind of blocking his drive there a little bit, unfortunately, but he's going to be up first, throwing that big hyzer with a destroyer, looking to get up on top of that hill, but he does come up just a little short, but he's probably going to be putting from about 45 feet or so definitely attackable. Anthony from a little closer, looking to do the same thing, but he flips it up just a little bit, so he goes on the backside over there. He's not going to have a very clean putt. He's got a couple trees that are going to be blocking his way, so most likely he's going to be trying to play for just an easy 4. Dylan gets up there a little bit, just a little short, but he does get almost up on top of the hill. And then we have Alec here looking to get up there with that really difficult anhyzer shot that I was telling you about, and almost throws it in for 2. Should have been absolutely sick. This hole has been 2'd maybe a couple times before. That would have been a huge, huge eagle for Alec if that would have stuck for him. Then you had Anthony from over there just laying up for an easy 4. Brandon, unfortunately, again, comes up a little short on his putt. And then we got Dylan nailing a great putt for birdie. And Alec with the last attempt for birdie on this hole after almost throwing this in for eagle 2. It just unfortunately doesn't give it enough. Kind of hyzers out and splashes out on the left side. He's just going to quickly run up and tap that out. Brandon taps out as well, as Anthony is going to tap out for a 4 as well. As we move into the last hole, again, the rounds are very, very close. Dylan does have the lead by 1, going into 18. Extremely uphill. It is only 315 feet. This hole plays about 400 feet worth of power, I would say. Maybe not as much, but it's a far, far shot for as short as the hole is, but throwing uphill is very difficult. getting as much distance as you need. You would be very surprised. Dylan opting for a sidearm there, kind of clips the one guardian tree, knocks him down, but he's going to have an easy up and down for 3. Alec gets up there. He's going to have a long putt just outside the circle for birdie 2. And then Anthony looking to throw a big turnover as well. Kind of clips the tree as well, gets knocked down a little bit. And then Brandon with the last attempt trying to get up there for a birdie 2 on this very difficult 18. Just a little inside. He's going to catch that tree as well, which is very easy to do on this hole because it takes up a lot of the visual fairway from the tee pad. And really you want to get out and around and then just finish to the right. Even if you can get through it clean, you're going to put yourself in the circle. If you catch it, you're just going to usually stay right under, which is where Anthony was just putting from. Brandon here as well, which is going to be about a 50, 60-foot putt uphill. Not looking to run anything crazy, just getting up and down for an easy 3. Alec with a long putt for birdie 2. And unfortunately just lets that go a little early. Dylan's going to be the furthest away to just tap in for a par 3. And then everybody else is just going to do the same here from about 10 feet away or so. There's Anthony tapping in. We have Alec and Brandon tapping out here in just a minute. And these guys have played a stellar second round. And exactly what you want to do for this tournament is shoot multiple rounds in the 50s. And so far, all these guys have done it. That is going to give you the best chance at placing very high, if not winning this tournament. So Dylan edging out the card with 1 stroke. He shot a 7 under for the round, putting him at 13 under for the tournament. Brandon not far off with the 6 under for the round, but tied for first place at 13 under with Dylan. And then Alec 5 under, putting him at 11 for the tournament. And then Anthony with a 4 under at 8 under for the tournament. And unfortunately, he's going to be edged out by Colin Poe, who also shot a 55 for his second round. He is going to be replacing Anthony's spot for the lead card of the final round coverage. So thank you guys for watching, and we will see you for the final round of the 2017 USADGC.